Hey everybody, welcome back. James here again with you. In today's video, I'm going to give you the first ever tuning video that I've ever done with the regulator setting on an air rifle. And on this air rifle, a lot of you may already know, this is the Avenger 25 caliber. I just got this in and I actually got this gun tuned within one day to shoot many different pellets very accurately and very precisely at 50 yards. And I did that by getting the shooter's pack, straight shooter's pack, with the various sample of pellets in it. And I could tell you guys already what regulator pressure is best for each pellet and what is not. But I am just going to show you in today's video on what actually works. And then you can go out and do the testing yourself and see what you find out for other different pellets. But in this video, I'm going to be testing some of the most common pellets that shooters have used in their Avenger 25 caliber, which is the JSB King, the Predator Polymag, the JSB 25 grain, the JSB Hades, and also another pellet that I personally found that works awesome in my Avenger is the H&N Barracuda. So as always guys, stay tuned in and hit that like button and subscribe below if you haven't already. I really think you're going to enjoy this video. Just a quick, simple tuning video for the Avenger 25 cal. Let's get into it. So to start off the video, I'm using the Venturi Avenger at 2 different pressures and not adjusting the hammer spring. I have it turned all the way out the whole time in this video, but the pressures of the regulator was 3000 PSI when I got it out of the box, and then I turned it down to show you guys what you can get with different pellets also. So again, the reason why I'm using 3000 PSI is because that's the highest it can go, and that's what mine was set out of the box. And also turned it down to about 2400 psi, and that's about a good number to set at. And you're probably thinking, well, why is that? Well, I took some readings with pellets at 3000 psi, and some pellets were getting smashed too much. The deforming of the pellet was pretty much smashed compared to at a lower psi. That's all that matters. A psi or pressure is what causes the pellet to either stay about the same length as it was going in the barrel, or causes it to flatten or squish down and can cause your accuracy to be thrown off, or your precision. And a lot of people don't understand that. That's what happens when you find that correct tune. The pellet is at the most optimized shape and length in your barrel, which causes it to fly true as possible downrange. So again, out of the box, this was set at 3000 psi, and then I turned it down after I read the rifling without even shooting the gun to 2400 psi and got some readings for you. So I'm only going to show you what works in this video, again with the shooting clips, and it goes against, you know, reading the rifling and all that, because it works. So let me start off by saying at 3000 psi, and I'll tell you which pellets worked and why they worked. So, if you know JSB, they typically follow suit. And what that means is, you know, the various different types of pellets that JSB offers, a lot of the times they copy each other. So like for instance, the JSB heavies, the 33.95 and the Hades are almost identical. Even though they're different weight, the body and length of the pellet are almost identical, almost the same shape. So with that said, at 3000 psi, I shot the Hades, I shot the JSB 3395s, and I shot the Predator Polymags. Also, I shot the H&N Barracuda match. So guys, I'm going to show you all the clips of those pellets. And what happens is, when you get it tuned just right, almost every pellet, if they're close enough in the same length, you know, whether or not they're heavy or not, bearing surface matching the rifling, they almost should produce almost identical group downrange. At 50 yards, using the single shot tray, I have my side shot mounted on my Penty 3 to 9 by 40 mil-dot scope. Again, regulator pressure is set at 3000 PSI. Check this out, guys. H&N Barracuda match, 31.02 grain, 50 yards, single shot tray. Wow. Wow. Oh, opened it up a little bit. Wow. 4 in basically tearing paper and 1 on the outside there. JSB Exact King Heavy, 33.95 grain, 50 yards, 3000 PSI reg. Right there. Woo! Nice. Wow. There we go. That last one was me. Next up is the JSB Predator 26 grain, 3000 PSI, single shot tray, 50 yards. Wow. 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 That's awesome. Okay, single shot tray, JSB Hades 26.54 grain, 50 yards, 3000 PSI reg pressure. Wow. So you might have noticed a couple flyers in there. That's okay. I'm going to work those out, and I know why it happened. Still getting used to this 25 cal trigger compared to the 22 Avenger trigger that I have. So other than that, they pretty much grouped identical. There's hardly no difference. And that is at 3000 PSI. Now to me, that is like a universal hunting tune for bigger, longer pellets, especially like the JSB that are almost identical to each other, the Polymag, the Heavy, not the Mark II, but the Heavy, and the Hades. Excuse me. And then the Barracuda match worked great also, as you can see. So with that said, let's turn it down to 2400 PSI. And again, you're probably going to ask, well, why? Why would you do that? Or why do you need to turn it up and down? Well, again, the reason why you have to change variant of pressure is so that the pellet can conform to the rifling better. You know, if you don't get enough twist on it, or little to no twist, or more twist, it could be overstabilized or understabilized. So again, after taking my readings and ability to read the rifling, I turned it down to 2400 PSI and shot the JSB Air Arms 25-4 grain. Check that out, guys. Alright, 50 yards, JSB, Exact King 25.4 grain, single shot tray, 2400 PSI on the rig. Wow. Wow. Oh, a little low. There we go. So guys, as you can tell, this Avenger is very tunable and very capable of shooting very good groups no matter the pellet. And again, the reason why is tuning the velocity, in which I did not measure the velocity, because to me the velocity does not account for accuracy or precision downrange. What matters is the pressure of the pellet and whether or not the skirt or the pellet gets smashed or blown out to match the rifling in the barrel. So speaking of that, the groups, the JSB 25-4 grain pellet at 2400 PSI at 50 yards is identical to the H&N Barracuda Match 30 grain pellet at 3000 PSI. That is amazing how they shot and how well they shot, guys. And believe it or not, this thing I got this tuned into all those pellets within a day of shooting. And only shooting 5 shots, I was able to tell that and measure the rifling. So that is awesome. So again, I could tune this gun to any pellet that I want, and I know exactly what I'm looking for. But this is amazing. So again, I hope these tips help you guys out with this tuning guide somewhat. I know it's kind of vague because it doesn't include chronograph data, but again, chronograph data does not really matter if it's not doing its job downrange, and that's what you're looking for. You want the projectile to shoot the best as possible, and again, you know, then it comes down to air usage. The higher PSI, 3000 PSI, you're going to get less shots compared to 2400 PSI. So, you know, that's what it comes down to, and what it boils down to is what you want to use it for, and if you're wanting to try to get the most out of it. Now, that's not saying you can't shoot every 25 caliber pellet at the same regulator pressure, but again, the groups downrange are going to show whether or not that pellet matches because of it being blown out or not blown out at all. So, as always, hit that like button and subscribe below if you haven't already, guys. I truly appreciate it, and I hope you got something from this video. And with that said, rule of thumb for me, and I'm going to tell you guys this, the longer pellets in 25 caliber should go with a higher PSI versus the shorter pellets. Again, as you can see, that's an awesome rule of thumb to go by. If the longer pellets and the shorter pellets are shooting identical at the variant pressures. So there you have it, guys. Again, thanks for watching. Hope to see you guys on the next one.